to New York, where it is day 5 of the federal sex trafficking trial for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
The 55-year-old is facing up to life in prison on charges that include racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Ventura is done with her testimony. It wrapped up just a little while ago after a long and tough 2 days of questioning by both sides, a total of 4 days. But in the last moments of her testimony, the defense was able to get a big revelation out of Ventura.
Now, she's about to receive a nearly $10 million settlement from the Intercontinental Hotel. That's where surveillance video captured Combs beating Ventura in March of 2016. Combs' ex confirmed that she had reached the settlement in the past month.
Now, remember, no cameras are allowed in the courtroom, but we have been able to get audio of Ventura's testimony with the help of AI. Before we bring back in our guests, let's take a listen back to some of her testimony from earlier this week.
What, if anything, did you tell Sean about what you wanted to do on the night of your 29th birthday?
I told him that I wanted to stay out and celebrate with my friends. And in my mind, I didn't want the burden of having to do that at the end of the night. I just wanted to have my birthday.
Did you want to have a freak-off that night?
No.
What ended up happening that night?
We went to Blind Dragon for a bit, but he pulled me out so many times. Like I said, I gave up. And, again, had a freak-off.
Who, if anyone, was with Sean when he was pulling you out of the Blind Dragon to have conversations?
I don't know specifically what security, but there was security there.
Ms. Ventura, yesterday you mentioned blackmail materials. What were you referring to when you said blackmail materials?
Blackmail materials would be actual sex videos, freak-off videos, even just other embarrassing videos. Me drunk, anything that would make me look not great.
When, if ever, would Sean mention the freak-off videos to you?
He would mention them when he was upset about something. It was just a pretty common thing. One time I dated someone else. That is what it was all about. I'm going to put out 2 embarrassing videos of you. He just wanted to hurt me.
As a result of freak-offs, what, if any, medical issues did you experience?
I had a lot of stomach issues and gastrointestinal issues from taking drugs. I also would get frequent UTIs. If you've had one, you know how painful that is.
Just stopping you there, Ms. Ventura, what does UTI stand for?
Urinary tract infection.
Focusing on that infection, how frequently did you get UTIs?
When we were having frequent freak-offs, sometimes they were back-to-back. Sometimes I couldn't get rid of it, and I was actually doing the freak-off with an infection.
When you say sometimes they were back-to-back, what's the they in that sentence?
The they is the UTI infection.
You described your UTIs as painful. How painful were they?
Very painful. It varied. I would try to flush out, just drink tons of water, cranberry juice, cranberry pills. I got to the point where Cipro didn't even work anymore. It was an antibacterial medicine. Yeah, just was a mess, really painful for a long time. I actually can't believe that I actually dealt with that.
Did you talk to Sean about your UTIs?
Yeah, he knew that I would get them.
You mentioned you had freak-offs with UTIs, is that correct?
Sometimes, yeah.
How did it feel to have sex while you had a UTI?
Horrible. It's the most uncomfortable burning. I would not advise it.
How long did Scott stay in Connecticut?
He stayed, I think, 3 or 4 days.
Approximately when did he leave?
Right before New Year's Eve.
When Scott left Connecticut, what was the status of your relationship with Scott?
I had broken it off with him. It was just too much.
When you say too much, can you explain what you mean by that?
Too much danger, too much uncertainty of what could happen if we continued to see each other.
When you say danger, what specific danger were you worried about?
Sean said to me, before I left LA, that he was going to hurt the both of us. And I, at least, took that in my mind. If I stay in this situation, we both will be hurt. If I don't, then no one will be.
How long did you stay in Connecticut?
I stayed there I think, until New Year's, or just before it, right after it.
Where did you go after Connecticut?
After Connecticut, I ended up going to see Sean in Arizona. He was visiting a college with his son.
Did you tell your family where you were going when you left?
No. I said I was going back to LA to get to work.
Why weren't you truthful with your family?
I did not want to disappoint them.
And in your mind, what would have disappointed them?
In my mind, disappointing them would be to go back to the abuse and everything that had happened just days before that.
And when you refer to the things that happened just days before that, is that the kicking in the back and the other things we discussed?
Kicking in the back? Yeah. Yeah, just all of that. Yeah.
Did there come a time after this when Sean mentioned Scott's car?
Yes. He mentioned that when we were out of the country, that Scott's car would be blown up. He wanted his friends to be there to see it.
When you say he wanted his friends to be there to see it, who is he?
Sean wanted Scott's friends to be there to see the car get blown up in the driveway.
Did there come a time when you saw Scott again?
Yes.
Where did you see Scott next?
I saw him at the Soho House in Los Angeles. The three of us had a meeting.
Who is the three of us?
Me, Sean, and Scott.
What was the purpose of the meeting?
The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the relationship that we were no longer in.
Ms. Ventura, what do you recall happening at the end of the meeting?
Scott said, "What about my vehicle?" And Sean said, "What vehicle?" And that was the end of the meeting.
Directing your attention to approximately August of 2018, did there come a time when you saw Sean?
Yes.
What was the occasion?
We were having kind of a closure conversation. At least in my mind we were. We went out to dinner at a restaurant, like on the way to Malibu. I think at that time, he was trying to convince me to come to Burning Man with him. That's something we did together over the years.
And from your perspective, what was the status of your relationship at the time you had dinner with Sean in Malibu?
We were not together.
Were you seeing anyone else at the time?
I was.
Who were you seeing?
My now husband, Alex.
Can you describe how Sean was acting at the dinner?
He was just being really nice, playful, laughing, kind of romantic vibes, sort of. But we just were normal, laughing.
How did the dinner end?
It ended with him bringing me home, and yeah, that was it.
And can you remind the jury which residence you lived in around this time?
Harold Way, where you saw the door with the knife.
When you arrived at your home at Harold Way, what happened?
I went inside, went in the living room. He came in, pretty usual, nothing weird. And then he raped me in my living room.
Where in your living room did the rape happen?
On the floor.
How did you physically react when Sean raped you?
I just remember crying and saying no, but it was very fast, so...
What, if anything, did you observe about Sean's physical appearance?
Just like, eyes black, I kinda said that before. Just wasn't himself. The laughing and like, all the things that were happening before that were not there. And it was just like, somebody taking something from you, just like, without...
You said that you cried?
I did.
What did Sean do when you cried?
He continued. I don't even know if he noticed, honestly.
You also said that you said no. What did Sean do when you said no?
He continued and finished.
When you say finished, what do you mean?
He ejaculated.
Where did he ejaculate?
Inside of me.
What happened after he ejaculated?
He got up and he left.
After the rape in your living room, were you intimate with Sean again?
I was one more time, but by choice.
What happened on that occasion?
It was a friend of ours' birthday dinner that we went to and had a really nice night that we've never really had before. Everything went smooth and happy, so I ended up at his house.
And when you say his house, are you referring to Sean's house?
Yep.
Can you explain to the jury why you agreed to see Sean again after the rape?
We've been together for over 10 years. You don't just turn feelings off that way. We were very connected at that point still. I still had good vision of who he was as a person. I didn't hate him.
All right, still with us, trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg. Alexis, talk to us about a person like a Cassie Ventura on the stand detailing such specific, horrific details about everything that she really almost ever did with this man. You can't even imagine how she could get up there and do this, the bravery and the ability to do it.
I agree. It took substantial bravery and just horrific. Your whole life, every bad, negative detail is just put out there for everyone. She comes across as very credible. You're believing her because she's just not saying things that support her position. She's telling you everything. She's telling you that I went back to him. I consented to going back to him. I still had feelings for him. So when she tells you the other things, it really does make you believe what she's saying. When she says that she was raped, it makes you believe that because she turns around and tells you, I did. I ended up going and I was with him again.
Alexis, what role do you think money is going to play as the jurors look into motivations? I think it complicates things. We heard about that $10 million settlement. They heard about it as well. We know how much money Diddy had and what that means for folks who are in his circle, right, or his girlfriend. That means you have a wonderful lifestyle. That could be part of the motivation as well. That's got to play into the minds of jurors.
Also, jurors that seem to usually like celebrities and they want to find them not guilty. So we do have to overcome that as well. But the fact that she got money for this, and it is confusing, was she consenting, was she not consenting? But we do have the video. She was definitely physically abused. I think everybody can come to that agreement. And the hotel did not really follow the appropriate protocols. So I think she does deserve the money. And I don't think it shows some motivation that she's making this up for some ulterior motive.
Yeah, good points. Fair enough.